All right, let's talk about something that hits every healthcare provider right where it counts: denial management. Now, this isn't just about paperwork or administrative headaches. We're talking about plugging the leaks that are quietly but consistently draining revenue from your organization. Honestly, it's one of the biggest battles in the entire revenue cycle. So, let's dive right in.
So let's start with a simple question. I want you to picture your organization, maybe like a big ship. You're working hard to keep it moving forward. But where are the leaks? Where's that hard-earned revenue just slipping away before it ever hits your bottom line?
And you know what? For most of you out there, the answer is right here. The single biggest leak, the most significant hole in the ship, is claim denials. These are not just minor hiccups. They represent a massive, direct loss of money that you are rightfully owed for the services you've already provided.
Okay, so if we're going to plug these leaks, we have to know who the culprits are, right? We need to find them first. So let's decode the main reasons behind claim denials and get a really clear picture of what we're up against.
And you know, what's really interesting when you look at the data is that this isn't some chaotic, thousand-headed monster. A huge chunk of all denials, a massive piece of the pie, falls into just three main categories: authorization, medical necessity, and coding errors. This isn't just bad luck. It's a symptom of complex payer rules and maybe some internal processes that aren't quite lining up. Let's break each one down.
First up, authorization denials. Oh man, these are probably some of the most common and, let's be honest, the most frustrating. It's exactly what it sounds like. The claim gets denied simply because the right pre-approval wasn't secured from the insurance company beforehand. It's a process issue, and it's a completely preventable one that has a huge financial impact.
Then we've got medical necessity. This one's tricky. This is where the payer basically says, yeah, you did the service, but we don't think it was actually necessary, according to our rule book. Now, this isn't a debate about your clinical judgment or the quality of care. It's a conflict over policy interpretation, and it's a conflict that directly stops payment.
And rounding out our top three are coding errors. I really like thinking of these as the typos of the medical billing world, because that's really what they are. Using the wrong CPT or ICD-10 code, even by a single digit, can trigger an immediate denial. It just goes to show how critical precision is, when one tiny mistake can bring the whole payment process to a screeching halt.
All right, we know the main culprits. Now, how do we keep score in this game? How do we actually measure if we're winning or losing the battle against denials? Let's look at the numbers, the metrics that really truly matter.
Okay, this next point is absolutely crucial. You have to understand the difference between two key numbers. First, you have the first-pass denial rate. This tells you how clean your claims are when they first go out the door. It's a great measure of your process efficiency. But the final denial rate, well, that's the real bottom line. Think of it this way. The first rate is how many of your shots get blocked. The final rate is how many of those shots miss the goal completely and are gone forever. That is pure, unrecoverable lost revenue.
Then you've got your appeal success rate. Think of this as your comeback stat. It shows how good your team is at fighting those initial denials and getting them overturned. Now, a high success rate is great. It means you have a skilled team. But it could also be a red flag that your front-end process needs some serious work to begin with.
And you know the old saying, time is money. Nowhere is that more true than here. Turnaround time is all about speed. How quickly can your team take a denied claim and turn it into a payment? The faster that happens, the healthier your cash flow is. Any delays here can put a real strain on your organization's financial stability.
So, we've got our metrics, we're keeping score. But that's just knowing what's happening. The real work, the detective work, is figuring out why. We've got to move past the symptoms and start a real investigation to find the root cause of these denials.
When you dig in, you find that denials really come from two main places: the front end and the back end. Front-end issues are the things that happen before a patient is even seen, stuff like registration errors, eligibility problems, or missing authorizations. Back-end issues, on the other hand, happen after care is delivered, during coding and billing. Figuring out which side of the house is causing more of your problems is the absolute key to fixing the right things. So, we've diagnosed the problem. Now, what's the game plan? The big idea here is to completely flip the script. We need to shift our entire mindset away from just reacting to denials as they pour in and instead get proactive about preventing them from ever happening in the first place.
And a smart plan always starts with priorities. You can't boil the ocean, right? So here's how you do it. Step 1, identify your high-dollar claims, the ones that hurt the most when they're denied. Step 2, analyze the heck out of why those specific claims are being denied. Step 3, focus your best people, your A-team, on appealing those high-value opportunities. And finally, and this is the most important part, Use what you learned to fix the root cause so it doesn't happen again.
Now, if you really want to level up your strategy, you've got to get specific. We're talking payer-specific. See, not all insurance companies play by the same rules or have the same quirks. By tracking denial trends for specific payers, like a BCBS or an Aetna, you start to spot their unique patterns. That lets you build custom counter strategies for each one. This is how you go from a generic approach to a precision-guided one.
So, you do all this work. Is it worth it? Oh, absolutely. The payoff is massive. We're talking about collecting more of the revenue you've earned, which leads to much healthier cash flow. You'll see administrative costs go down because you're not constantly reworking claims. Heck, it can even improve your relationships with payers and build a real culture of data-driven improvement in your organization.
Look, if you take away just one thing from all of this, let it be this. True, world-class denial management isn't about being the best at appealing denied claims. It's about building a system so strong, so robust, that claims rarely get denied in the first place. The entire focus has to shift from fixing to preventing. So I'm going to leave you with a challenge, a question to take back to your team. Based on everything we've just talked about, what is the one single root cause, it could be big, it could be small, that you can identify and start to fix this week? Because starting there, with that one thing, is the first real step to turning a major revenue leak into a source of financial strength.